There is a great deal of confusion as to why Jesus was crucified. And I want to be very, very surgical here, because the impression is, and what you often hear, is that Jesus was crucified as a seditionist. And the Bible is explicit that that is not the case. Jesus was brought before Pilate, the Roman prefect, the Roman authority in Jerusalem at that time, and accused of sedition. The only hope they had of being rid of Jesus was to take him to the Roman authorities, and they had to have an indictment, they had to have a charge. And the one that they thought would work was sedition. And by the way, early on the morning before the crucifixion, when they had him on trial and they asked him, "Tell us, are you the Christ, the Son of the living God?" And Jesus responded, to their surprise and delight, "I am." They thought they had him. They had 70 or so witnesses who had heard him openly confess to being Christ. Christ means king. Rome has no room for that. And so that's why Jesus is taken early on that morning to Pilate. And the charge is he's a seditionist. After hearing all the witnesses, after examining the evidence, Pilate again and again pronounces Jesus absolutely guiltless. Now the interesting thing is that the last time he does that, it's in John chapter 19. And after having scourged him and after having stood him before the crowd and said, "Behold the man, give me a break. Are you telling me that this man is a threat to the Roman Empire?" And they continue to cry, "Crucify him." Pilate had said, this is John 19, "You go crucify him." And then the Jewish authorities said, and this is so important, they said, "Well, if you won't crucify him as a seditionist, then we have a law. And he ought to die because he makes himself to be the Son of God." Now, the reason Jesus was crucified was because he claimed to be the Son of God. Let me say two things about that. Number one, it's hard for us to imagine how absolutely radical, how absolutely mind-numbing that charge was to a Jewish audience. And at a certain level, you can hardly blame them. And we have the benefit of the resurrection. We have the benefit of 2,000 years of Christian teaching. And we say Jesus was the Son of God. Amen and amen and amen and amen. There is nobody on the earth who more strongly believes that than I. But by the same token, it's hard for us to appreciate how radical that was and how heretical it sounded and how heretical it was, except in the one remarkable instance where it just happened to be the truth. So the point is that it was by reason of Jesus' claim to be the Son of God that the Jewish authorities finally said, all right, you won't crucify him as a seditionist. He needs to die because he claimed to be the Son of God. According to John 19, the reason he was crucified was because he claimed to be the Son of God. And Paul says that when he came alive from the dead, he was declared, he was horizoned is the word he used. The message was spread across the horizon. He was declared to be the Son of God with power by the resurrection from the dead. So those two realities, that number one, he was crucified, explicit in the record, because he claimed to be the Son of God. That's why the Jews insisted he had to die. And the fact is that the resurrection was God's grand message to make the point, God's grand declaration that he was everything he claimed to be, and therefore he could do everything he claimed he had come